FeatureCAM has made steady progress in terms of its user interface, and the 2014 release builds upon this. There are a number of new improvements, including the new ability to rename features that start with numbers or use other characters such as percentages. We've also introduced anti-aliasing for the tools and holders in the display window, with an option to turn it off should your graphics card or driver not support it. We also provide more information in the log file with respect to the import via Delcam Exchange, as well as the ability to send the log files for Delcam support analysis. In this example, we're going to have a look at some of these new features. So the first case, you can see here, we've got a part with a number of features already pre-created. And in this case, you can see down the side, we've got the default naming convention for all those feature types. Now in the first instance, these holes, I'm going to have a look at the hole, and you can see here, it's a 10mm diameter. I want to provide that information with regards to the pattern name. To rename, I can either right-click and choose Rename, or I can choose F2 if I want the quick shortcut. Once I rename, I can change my name, and in this case I'm going to enter the size of the holes, which is 10mm, and say Hole Pattern. Note I've added spaces and also started with a number. Select OK, and it's happily accepted the name of that feature now in the part view. I can also put additional information, and in this case we can have a look at this pocket. And note in this case, if I go to the roughing area, into milling, you can see we've got high-speed machining maximum tool overload has been set to 10%. I want to include that information in the name of the feature. Let's go ahead and do this just by simply re-clicking, rename, and in this case I'm going to call this Pocket 1, and then in this case I'm going to set 10% overload. Say OK, and you'll notice the percentage value and the numbers are written in the name of the feature. Care must be taken though, when naming these features, that the output is not put into your NC code, or that your NC code supports the additional characters. As well as this, we've introduced the anti-aliasing for the tools. If I go into the roughing, select the tool, and in this case you can see we've got slightly rougher edges if we make our way around the tool profile. The anti-aliasing smooths those edges out. To do this, we simply go to our options, surface shading, and you'll notice there is a new checkbox that says anti-alias the tool window. We have this option to turn it on or off in case your graphics card or driver doesn't support it. If it doesn't support the anti-aliasing, you'll simply see a grey space where the tool is. Uncheck this option and the tool will reappear as normal. In this case I'm going to turn it on. Accept the fact that it'll only do it when I open the window again. Back into the roughing tab, open the tool, and you should now be able to see we've got a much smoother profile around the tool geometry. Final thing on this example is just to look at the export of the log files. Log files can be useful when doing any kind of support analysis because it tells us information about how the software was being used at the time. In this case, we go to the send options, and you'll notice there is a checkbox that we have for crash performance logs. We can either group this together as a separate zip file or as individual files. Note there may be multiple crash files and log files, so in this case we want to include those and we put those all in a single zip file with the other files. As soon as I say OK, we'll get an email that we can send to our support representative, and in this case you'll see I've got my FeatureCAM file, the posts that I'm using, and also the logs grouped together in a single zip file. This makes the support process much easier for us to analyse any issues you may be having with the software.